All right. Well, I just saw the movie Friendship, which is the latest film starring Tim Robinson of I Think You Should Leave fame, also Paul Rudd. And the story of this film is Tim Robinson's character, Craig, is a suburban dad. He has a wife and a kid. He's mostly interested in the new Marvel that's coming out that's supposed to be nuts. Doesn't seem to do a lot until he befriends his neighbor played by Paul Rudd, and they very quickly become close friends, but just as quickly due to some social faux pas that Craig makes, ultimately Paul Rudd's character decides they don't want to be friends anymore, which creates the film Friendship. I was excited for this movie because I am a big Tim Robinson fan. I think You Should Leave and The Detroiters are both just some of the funniest stuff you can see. And I would say that I was interested in how this is going to transition to a film because, The Detroiters, which is just a 20-minute TV show, even that sometimes feels like a bit too long for Tim Robinson's style of humor. So for a full feature-length movie, I was wondering, can this work, or are they just going to do something very different? I was interested in seeing what was going to happen. First things first, this is very much a Tim Robinson movie. This is that kind of humor. If you do not like I Think You Should Leave, you will not like this movie. If you like I Think You Should Leave, I think you will like this movie. It is that blend of humor, and this is very much a comedy. The marketing kind of made it seem like, is there going to be some, quote unquote A24 elements, whatever that means. Is that going to exist in this film? And it does. It exists. But this is very much a comedy. Interestingly, Tim Robinson's obviously the lead in this film, but he is not a writer or director. This is written and directed by Andrew DeYoung. And I was wondering, the way that this movie was made, it feels like they have to have some connection. It doesn't seem like they've ever worked together on any projects prior, looking through IMDb. But, I'm assuming they have met at some point. This feels like a role that had to have had Tim Robinson in mind, because, the comedy just plays it's so much of Tim Robinson's style of comedy. So then my question, that I would be wondering if I'm deciding if I should see this movie or not is, well, does this whole thing work? Can you do a sketch like that for this entire runtime, for an 100-minute runtime? Can that hold up? And I would say it mostly does. I think that there are some slower moments where you're kind of waiting in between the big laughs, but when the big laughs come, they really come. There was a handful of just laugh out loud lines to the point where I saw this with my wife, Stephanie, and we were on the way home quoting a lot of the things that were said, because it's a very there's a lot of memorable moments in it. One that I won't spoil in case you have not seen it, but one just involving the toad. If you've seen the movie, I'm talking about. Just an absolutely hysterical moment. There was also a cameo from Connor O'Malley, who is also someone who is, and I Think You Should Leave pretty frequently, and he was just hysterical from the jump. He was fantastic and probably had the line of the film, in my opinion, which again, I will not spoil in case you have not yet seen it, but some really, really funny stuff here. Ultimately, I do think that part of what I would say about this film that I would put in kind of the negatives is I almost feel like it gets a little too silly for its own good at times, specifically with, the Tim Robinson character, Craig, is going to be silly. It's going to be goofy. That's what you're here for. That's why you buy a ticket, is to see that. I do feel like, I think, making Paul Rudd, there's a scene earlier on where Austin, Paul Rudd's character, takes Craig through this tunnel system, and it's very silly in its own right, but I think it almost maybe makes it not feel like it's the real world anymore. I almost think if they were one step closer to reality, with everyone except for the Craig character, it maybe would have made that pop more, and just made the story as a whole work throughout the entirety of the film, because I do feel like you're more or less waiting for the comedic set pieces than you are really invested in the story. I would say with the exception of the last 15-20 minutes or so, where you do then get back into the story itself. But that's not a big deal. I think ultimately the story does enough to not make you just fully feel like you're waiting for the set pieces, and keeps you invested enough to get from A to B. And the set pieces and the comedic things that happen throughout this film are just so hilarious and often come out of complete left field. It totally works as a film. So should you watch friendship. Let's get into some categories now. I did the categories in a previous video, and I like that idea. I don't know why I got away from that. So I'm going to do the categories again for this video. So the first one is, should you watch it? And the answer is, again, if you have not seen any of Tim Robinson's work, then it's kind of a question. If you like, I think you should leave. Yes, watch it. You'll like this. If you don't watch it. You won't like it. If you haven't, I would say, hey, it's on Netflix. It's 15-minute episodes. Maybe check out one of those and see if it's your blend of your type of humor. Because again, it's very much not for everybody. But if it's for you, it's really for you. It's very much a love it or hate it kind of. I would say either love it or just don't get it kind of guy. So yeah, definitely that's my opinion. I would recommend it. What is my rating? I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I think it's right around there. Really funny. Didn't do a ton else for me, but it didn't have to. It was a comedy, so I really enjoyed it. Okay, category time now. So for the winner of the movie, it's got to be Tim Robinson, right? I just feel like he has such a unique blend of. I think I saw someone describe it as it's like he's an alien who's trying to replicate human behavior, and it's like almost there. Like he's just so funny in such a unique way that there's absolutely nobody like him. And this movie would have, I think, been fine if it was with a different actor there, but there's no way it's this kind of movie. There's no way it's getting this kind of laughs. I mean, like, again, there's a scene very early on where he just pours a cup of coffee too tall. So now it's like at the top of the mug. And then you're just seeing him walking around with the tall cup of coffee. And it's like, it's this little thing that he just plays so perfectly in a way that's just so funny. Some of his line delivery it's just fantastic. He's a clear-cut winner of the movie. There's a lot of great stuff in here. I'll add a category. I think we'll do best bench player, which is sort of a playoff of, the rewatchables do their categories. This is kind of what this whole thing is a playoff of. They have a similar category on theirs, but best bench player, the actor that comes in and isn't the star and isn't the number 2 lead, but just comes in and does does some good stuff. And I've already shouted him out. Connor O'Malley just feels like a clear win here. He comes in and he's the guy who hits the pinch hit grand slam here. He was he was fantastic in this movie. Loser of the movie, I don't know if I really need this category. It's kind of a weird one to go with, but I think the loser, I don't know, because again, it's such a unique blend of a film. How do you even determine? I think like everything works well. The only thing that maybe jumped out at me was, could you argue like Kate Mara, because she definitely plays it way more straight than everyone else does, but I kind of like that. I kind of like the uniqueness of having like one character who's like fully playing it straight while everyone else is a little bit on the sillier side. So I would say no loser, but I guess if I had to, maybe you could argue her, but I wouldn't. The category for best moment in this film, I brought it up earlier. I think, again, the two I go towards, and it's hard to say it without spoiling, but the two that I would go towards are the Toad sequence, I would say, is up there, and then also the one line that you had Connor O'Malley say. Those were the two that I would probably point towards as the best. As for worst moment, which is the category I had it, again, not always going to work for every movie. The idea is that these categories would be for some more mediocre movies, and it would work better. I wouldn't say there was one moment that stood out to me as worst, but maybe like, and if you have any, definitely let me know in the comments. But I think maybe some of the there was just some slower parts, I thought, where you weren't really like busting out laughing, just getting the story to move, that didn't fully work. But other than that, it was that was it. And yeah, the final category is golden stamp of approval, which is if someone went above and beyond. You know what? I'll give Tim Robinson the golden stamp of approval. He was great. I don't think anything else really rises to that level. But yeah, as a whole, those are the categories. That is my review of Friendship. I do have spoilers, but I don't need to get into spoilers here. It would just be me saying, hey, remember that joke? That was funny. Yeah, as a whole, incredibly quotable. Definitely one that I'm going to watch again at some point. I think it's fantastic. So yeah, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.